As the sun cast its first light over the city, illuminating the towering skyscrapers with a golden hue, Jeremy found himself waking up to a rather unusual situation. The previous night's events had been a blur, a combination of neon lights, pulsating music, and the thrilling excitement of the unknown. But as his eyes adjusted to the morning light, the remnants of the night materialized into something far beyond the ordinary. Next to him, under the crumpled sheets of his bed, lay Zara. With her luminescent skin and eyes that shimmered like the starlit galaxy, she was unmistakably not of this world. Jeremy's memories of how they met were foggy, but the vivid blue glow of her smile was impossible to forget. As he sat up, trying to piece together the fragmented memories, Zara stirred. Her eyes fluttered open, meeting his with a calm that contrasted the wild confusion in his mind. "Good morning, Jeremy," she said, her voice melodious yet carrying an alien lilt that made the air vibrate slightly. "I hope you're ready for a surprise." "What kind of surprise?" Jeremy managed to ask, his voice hoarse from the night's escapades. The notion of any more surprises seemed overwhelming, considering he was already in bed with an alien. Without a word, Zara gently pushed the sheets away, revealing an astonishing sight. Nestled between them was an egg. It was about the size of a rugby ball, with a shell that seemed to shimmer with iridescent colors, reflecting the morning light in mesmerizing patterns. "Is that—" Jeremy couldn't finish his sentence, his mind racing with impossible questions. "Yes," Zara confirmed, her tone both serene and proud. "It is ours, Jeremy. It appears that our night of fun was more productive than either of us anticipated." Jeremy's mind reeled. An egg? His? With an alien? He ran his hands through his hair, trying to calm his racing heart. "I don't understand. How? Why?" Zara sat up, her posture graceful and composed. "In my culture, this is a rare blessing. It happens when there is a profound connection between two beings. Last night our energies aligned perfectly," she explained, her hand caressing the egg gently. Jeremy looked at the egg, then at Zara, and back at the egg. The reality of the situation was a lot to process. He was just a regular guy. He worked at a tech store, played video games, and occasionally went out for drinks with friends. Now he was potentially a father to an alien-human hybrid. "What do we do now?" he asked, his voice a mix of awe and fear. Zara's smile widened. "We take care of it until it hatches. Don't worry, Jeremy. I'm here to guide you through it all. We are in this together." As Jeremy processed the shock, curiosity began to creep in. His initial fear slowly gave way to a budding sense of responsibility and wonder. What would the child be like? What did this mean for his future? "Okay," he finally said, determination settling in his voice. "Let's do this." Zara nodded, pleased. "I knew you were special, Jeremy. Let's start by getting some breakfast. Nurturing life is hard work and we'll need the energy." Together they rose from the bed, stepping into the first day of a new reality. As they prepared breakfast, Jeremy couldn't help but steal glances at the egg, a tangible symbol of his sudden, unexpected leap into the unknown. The future was uncertain, thrilling, and utterly alien. But with Zara by his side, Jeremy felt ready to face whatever came next. In the small kitchen of Jeremy's apartment, the air was filled with the scent of pancakes and the faint, almost imperceptible hum of the egg. Jeremy had cleared a space on the counter where the egg now rested, cushioned on a pile of soft towels. As he flipped a pancake, he glanced at it, still struggling to integrate the reality of its presence into his life. Zara, moving with an effortless grace, prepared a blend of earthly ingredients mixed with some powdery substances she retrieved from a small pouch. "This is a nutritional supplement from my planet," she explained. "It will help the egg receive all the necessary nutrients to develop properly." Jeremy nodded, handing her a freshly cooked pancake, which she accepted with a smile. "So what should we expect? I mean, how do we know when it's going to hatch?" "It varies," Zara said as she sprinkled the alien powder over the pancakes, turning them a slight violet. "It could be weeks, even months. Our child will be ready when it senses the environment is safe and loving." Their breakfast conversation turned to more practical matters. Despite the incredible nature of their situation, life had to go on. Jeremy had work, bills to pay, and now, a cosmic responsibility that required learning and adapting. Zara, whose existence on Earth was a secret to all but Jeremy, shared more about her culture and biology, which seemed to defy all known sciences. As the days turned into weeks, their routine solidified. Jeremy continued his job at the tech store, while Zara, who could not risk exposing herself outside, made the apartment a sanctuary for their growing family. She was endlessly fascinated by human technology and often fixed or improved Jeremy's gadgets with a touch of alien ingenuity. One evening, Jeremy returned home to find Zara engrossed in an online lecture about human childcare. "I'm trying to understand how your species nurtures its young," she said without looking up. "It's quite fascinating, really. So different from us, yet driven by the same fundamental desire to protect and educate." Jeremy sat down beside her, watching as diagrams of human anatomy and developmental stages flashed across the screen. "And how do your people do it?" he asked, curiosity piqued. "We share knowledge directly through touch and thought. Our young are born with a basic understanding of their world," Zara explained, finally tearing her eyes away from the screen to look at him. "But I find your methods deeply emotional, more hands-on." As the weeks rolled by, the egg became a silent centerpiece of their lives. They read to it, played music, and sometimes Zara would sing in her ethereal language, her voice creating ripples on the egg's surface. Late one night, as Jeremy and Zara sat on the couch, her head resting on his shoulder, the egg began to glow softly. It wasn't the passive, reflective glow from before, but a pulsating light from within. They both stood, hands linked, watching in awe. "It's communicating," Zara whispered. "It's happy. It feels safe." Jeremy watched, mesmerized by the dance of colors. The connection he felt to the unborn being inside was unexpected but undeniable. He realized then that no matter how bizarre or otherworldly this aspect of his life had become, it was profoundly beautiful. As they prepared to end the day, the egg returned to its gentle, steady glow, like a heartbeat of light. In the quiet of the night, with Zara asleep beside him and the luminescent egg a constant, gentle presence, Jeremy felt a deep, peaceful acceptance of his new, extraordinary reality. In the heart of the city, beneath the canopy of ceaseless neon, life surged forward with the relentless pace typical of urban existence. But within the confines of Jeremy's apartment, a smaller, more intimate rhythm had taken hold, centered around the iridescent egg that now hummed with an energy that was almost audible. One rainy afternoon, as Jeremy was sorting through a pile of bills and work-related emails, Zara appeared beside him, her expression clouded with concern. "Jeremy, there's something we need to discuss," she began, her tone more serious than usual. "What's up?" Jeremy swiveled in his chair to face her, immediately sensing the gravity of the moment. "It's about the energy signature of our child. It's unique, potentially detectable by those who might not wish us well." Zara's eyes, usually so calm and reassuring, flickered with a hint of fear. Jeremy's mind raced. "You mean other aliens? Like, are they a threat to us?" "Possibly." Zara nodded gravely. "Not all beings from my dimension are peaceful. Some are hunters, seeking out unique genetic traits for their own purposes. Our child, being of mixed heritage, could be of great interest to them." The weight of her words hung in the air, heavy and ominous. Jeremy felt a protective instinct rise within him, fierce and raw. "What can we do to shield the egg, to keep our baby safe?" Zara motioned for him to follow her to the living room, where the egg lay on its makeshift nest. She retrieved a device from her bag, small and sleek, humming with a low frequency. "This is a cloaking device. It can mask the energy signature, but it's not infallible. We must remain vigilant." Setting up the device, they watched as a soft, shimmering field enveloped the egg, the colors blending perfectly with the ambient light of the apartment. It was a temporary relief, a momentary breath in the storm that might be brewing beyond their walls. As days turned into weeks, the city's pulse seemed to sync with their own heightened state of alert. Jeremy found himself scrutinizing every shadow, every unexpected sound. Despite their precautions, the feeling of being watched grew increasingly palpable, as if eyes were on them from an unseen vantage point. The tension reached its peak one evening when the power in their apartment flickered and went out. In the sudden darkness, the only light came from the softly glowing egg, now a beacon in the shadowed room. Zara's voice was calm but urgent. "Jeremy, stay close. This may not be a coincidence." Using his phone's flashlight, Jeremy moved to stand beside her, his other hand instinctively reaching out to protect the egg. The minutes stretched into an eternity of whispered noises and the sound of rain against the windows. Suddenly, there was a sharp knock at the door. Both Jeremy and Zara froze, every muscle tensed for what might come next. The knock came again, persistent and rhythmic. Zara whispered, a strategic edge to her voice. "I'll check it. Be ready for anything." Moving silently to the door, Zara peered through the peephole. Jeremy watched her shoulders relax slightly. "It's Mrs. Wilkins, our neighbor," she murmured, turning back to him with a puzzled look. Cautiously, Zara opened the door to find Mrs. Wilkins, an elderly woman with a kind face and a basket of homemade muffins. "Just thought you two might like some treats," she said with a smile, oblivious to the drama unfolding inside. As Zara accepted the muffins with thanks, Jeremy couldn't help but laugh, a short, nervous burst of relief. The tension in the room dissipated, replaced by the sweet aroma of blueberry muffins. The incident left them shaken but unharmed. It was a stark reminder of their vulnerability, a prompt to fortify their defenses, both physical and emotional. As they went to bed that night, the city outside buzzed with life, ignorant of the small drama in apartment 3B, where two beings, one human, one alien, fought to protect the future they were nurturing together. The world outside remained ignorant of the cosmic drama unfolding within the four walls of Jeremy's apartment. Life marched on in its usual cadences, the rush of traffic, the murmur of crowds, the ceaseless rhythm of the urban sprawl. Inside, however, the atmosphere was thick with anticipation and a touch of foreboding, as Jeremy and Zara fortified their sanctuary against potential threats. Their days were punctuated by regular checks of the cloaking device, ensuring it hummed with uninterrupted vigor, its energy shield enveloping the egg in a protective embrace. Zara, with her expertise in alien technology, tweaked and adjusted the settings, optimizing the field to obscure their child's unique signature from any prying sensors that roamed the cosmos. One particular morning, as the city awoke under a blanket of fog, a subtle shift in the apartment's energy drew Zara's immediate attention. She rose from their makeshift lab, a corner of the living room filled with alien tech and human ingenuity, and approached the egg. The glow from the egg had changed. It was deeper, resonating with a new intensity. "Jeremy!" Zara called out, her voice a mixture of excitement and urgency. Jeremy, who had been lost in a deep dive into alien parenting customs, looked up. He approached, noticing the shift in the egg's luminescence. "What's happening? Is it time?" "Not yet," Zara reassured him, though her eyes were fixed on the egg with a scientist's focus. "But our child is growing stronger, becoming more aware of its surroundings. It can sense our presence, our emotions even through the shell." Fascinated, Jeremy reached out, hesitating just inches from the egg's surface. At Zara's encouraging nod, he touched it. The shell was warm, and a pulse of warm energy flowed through his fingertips, a connection that felt as real and profound as any touch. "This is amazing," Jeremy whispered, his fears momentarily forgotten in the wonder of connection. "It knows we're here." "Yes, and it feels your love, your protection," Zara replied, her hand joining his on the shell. Together, they stood in silent communion with their unborn child, a moment of peace in the storm of uncertainties that surrounded them. As they resumed their daily routines, the incident added a new layer of urgency to their preparations. They discussed contingency plans, escape routes, and emergency contacts on Earth who could help if things went awry. Jeremy contacted an old friend from his college days who was now a lawyer, ensuring that legal measures were in place to protect Zara's presence on Earth should it come to light. Their careful balance of normalcy and vigilance was disrupted late one afternoon when Zara, monitoring interstellar frequencies, picked up a disturbing transmission. The signal was garbled, but the intent was clear. There was an active search for an anomaly, a hybrid energy signature that did not match any known patterns. "They're getting closer," Zara said, her voice steady but her eyes dark with worry. "We need to be ready to move at a moment's notice." Jeremy nodded, taking in her words with a grim determination. "Let's run through the plan again. We can't afford any mistakes." They spent the night reviewing every detail, from the fastest routes out of the city to the safe houses Zara had arranged through her contacts from other worlds. Every item they might need was packed and ready, every scenario played out. In the deep silence of the night, as the city slept, and the stars wheeled unseen above the blanket of urban light pollution, Jeremy and Zara lay awake. Each was lost in their own thoughts, yet united in their resolve. The connection they had felt with their child only strengthened their determination to protect this new life, this fusion of two worlds. In the quiet hours before dawn, as the first hint of morning light crept through the blinds, they reaffirmed their commitment to each other and their unborn child. No matter what forces might come against them, they would face them together, as a family united not just by blood, but by a deep, unshakable bond of love and duty. The days grew heavy with the weight of impending change, each moment tinged with the sharp edge of vigilance. Zara and Jeremy's apartment, once a simple dwelling, had transformed into a command center for their defensive strategies, littered with alien tech and human ingenuity intertwined in a delicate dance of protection. On a particularly brisk morning, the city's usual hum was disrupted by an unexpected anomaly. The cloaking device, usually steady and unobtrusive, flickered erratically, its light sputtering like a candle in the wind. Zara, with her quick reflexes, moved to stabilize the device, her fingers moving deftly over the alien controls. "Something's trying to breach the cloak," Zara announced, her voice tight with concern. "It's a scanning pulse. Sophisticated, not from Earth." Jeremy, who had been double-checking their emergency packs, looked up sharply. "Can they get through?" he asked, moving to her side. "It's a possibility," she admitted, focusing intently on her adjustments. "This pulse is designed to resonate with the energy signature of our child. It's a hunter's tool, precise and relentless." The seriousness of their situation had never been more clear. As Zara labored to modify the cloaking field, Jeremy watched the streets below through the blinds. The usual flow of pedestrians and vehicles seemed innocuous, but his senses were heightened to the possibility of danger lurking in plain sight. "We might have to leave sooner than planned," Zara said, as she managed to stabilize the device momentarily. "I'll enhance the cloak, but it's only a matter of time before they adjust their methods." Jeremy nodded, his decision firm. "Let's start moving tonight. We'll head to the safe house you mentioned outside the city. Less tech, fewer eyes." Preparations for their departure were swift and silent. Each action was calculated, with Zara packing the essential devices needed to sustain the egg and their safety, while Jeremy gathered documents and necessary personal items that couldn't be left behind. As dusk fell, casting long shadows through the cramped spaces of their apartment, they dressed the egg carefully in a portable incubator, a marvel of Zara's technology that would maintain its necessary environment. The incubator was nondescript, designed to look like common human luggage to avoid drawing attention. They chose the cover of night for their departure, leaving through the back entrance of the building where the shadows were thickest. The city around them was a maze of light and shadow, every corner a potential threat. Jeremy kept his eyes peeled, constantly scanning their surroundings, while Zara communicated silently with her device, monitoring any incoming threats. Their journey to the outskirts was fraught with tension. Each passing vehicle, each distant siren, spiked their adrenaline, pushing them further into a state of alert readiness. The route Zara had chosen was less traveled, winding through older parts of the city that lay under the radar of typical surveillance. When they finally arrived at the safe house, a small, inconspicuous cabin hidden within a thicket of trees, it was well past midnight. The place was shielded by natural vegetation and further protected by an array of cloaking devices that Zara activated upon their arrival. Inside, the cabin was Spartan but functional. Zara set the egg within a specially prepared alcove, the incubator humming softly in the darkened room. They had managed to escape the immediate threat, but the relief was temporary, overshadowed by the knowledge that their pursuers would not give up easily. Settling into the cabin, Jeremy and Zara took a moment to regroup, their minds racing with the next steps. They needed to strengthen their defenses, gather more information on the hunters, and plan for the long term. As they strategized deep into the night, their resolve hardened. They were no longer just fugitives. They were protectors, guardians of a new life that bridged two vastly different worlds. Their bond, forged in the crucible of crisis, was their greatest strength, and together, they prepared to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Under the cloak of the dense forest, the cabin served as a sanctuary from the relentless pursuit that haunted Jeremy and Zara. The tranquility of the natural surroundings was a stark contrast to the storm of activity that brewed within as they prepared for what they knew was an inevitable confrontation. Zara, ever the engineer, fortified the cabin's defenses with layers of both alien and human technology. Sensors meshed with natural camouflage, and the energy signature of their precious cargo was buried under a lattice of disruptive frequencies. Meanwhile, Jeremy scoured the internet for any signs of alien activity reported by conspiracy theorists and UFO chasers, hoping to predict their pursuers' next move. One morning, as the first light pierced through the dense foliage, a subtle alarm from one of Zara's devices signaled an intrusion. The cloaking had been disturbed, not by a direct attack, but by an advanced scouting pulse that skirted their defenses, probing for a point of weakness. "They're close and they're getting smarter," Zara noted, her voice calm but filled with urgency. "We can't stay on the defensive forever. We need to think about making a stand." Jeremy nodded, his resolve firm. "What do you suggest?" "We turn their technology against them. I can modify the cloaking device to emit a pulse that would not only hide us, but also create false leads and echoes. It would give us time to prepare, maybe even strike back," she proposed. Working with a focused intensity, Zara repurposed their resources while Jeremy set traps around the perimeter, both technological and physical. They planned to mislead and disorient any assault, to protect their new family at all costs. As night descended, their preparations took on a desperate edge. They checked and rechecked every system, every trap. They knew that the cover of darkness could bring the threat to their doorstep. The attack, when it came, was almost silent. A distortion in the air was the first sign. A warping of light as the hunters used their cloaking technology to approach the cabin. Zara's sensors picked up the anomaly immediately, and her countermeasures kicked in, flooding the area with disruptive signals. Caught off guard, the hunters materialized from the cloak, their forms humanoid but distinctly alien, their intentions clear from the advanced weaponry they carried. But as they advanced, they found themselves disoriented by the labyrinth of false signals and misleading paths Jeremy and Zara had created. From the shadows, Jeremy and Zara watched, ready to defend their home. They moved as a seamless unit, their earlier planning paying off as one after another, the hunters fell prey to their traps. In the chaos, a direct confrontation was inevitable. Zara, leveraging her superior agility and knowledge of her own technology, disabled the hunters' weapons with precise strikes. Jeremy, his courage bolstered by the need to protect his family, tackled the disarmed invaders, using every bit of his human ingenuity and resolve. As the dawn broke, the few remaining hunters retreated, their numbers too diminished to continue the fight. The forest around the cabin was quiet once more, the threat momentarily vanquished, but the danger still palpable in the air. Breathing heavily, Jeremy and Zara returned to the cabin, their bodies and spirits weary but undefeated. They had protected their future, and as they entered, the first cracks appeared on the surface of the egg. Together, they watched in awe as their child began to emerge from its shell, a symbol of new life and hope, a being of both earth and the stars, whose very existence was a testament to the power of unity and love in the face of adversity. As the new day dawned, Jeremy and Zara knew their struggles were far from over. but the birth of their child offered a renewed strength to face whatever challenges lay ahead, together.